Welcome to ClubhouseNews.com. You're tuned in to Clubhouse News Weekend for the week ending Saturday, February 14th. I'm Shayna.
And I'm Sebastian. On February 16th, we celebrate President's Day, honoring the birthdays of Abraham Lincoln and George Washington, as well as the achievements of all presidents. Washington led the American Revolution to victory in the War for Independence from Great Britain that took place from 1765 to 1783 and helped create the Constitution, the supreme law of our nation. He was one of the nation's founding fathers alongside men like Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Jefferson, and became our first president in 1788. Washington served 2 four-year terms, establishing the tradition of term limits that continues to this day. President's Day used to be called George Washington's birthday because his birthday was on February 22nd, 1732. Since Abraham Lincoln was born on February 12, 1809, the holiday eventually included him as well. Lincoln was elected as the 16th president in 1860. He freed black slaves with his Emancipation Proclamation in 1863 during the American Civil War between the Union forces of the North and 11 slave-owning states in the Southern Confederacy. Lincoln, the man on the penny, also uplifted the nation with his Gettysburg Address speech after the brutal Battle of Gettysburg. Lincoln became the first president to be assassinated on April 14, 1865, when pro-Confederate John Wilkes Booth shot him at Ford's Theater during the play Our American Cousin.
From the Civil War to the War on Terror, President Barack Obama has asked Congress to declare war on the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria, known as ISIS. Islam, the second biggest religion in the world after Christianity, is split into two groups, the Sunni and the Shia, who have disagreed with each other ever since the death of Islam's founder, the Prophet Muhammad, in 632 AD. It's fair to say they know how to hold a grudge. About 85% of the world's Islamic believers are Sunni and 15% are Shia, but the Middle Eastern countries of Iraq and Iran are mainly Shia. When military forces led by the USA and Britain toppled Iraqi President Saddam Hussein in 2003, after accusing him of hiding weapons of mass destruction, his Sunni-led government fell apart. Longtime Shia rebel Nouri al-Maliki replaced the dictator, and his anti-Sunni government created tremendous stress in the country. Following the withdrawal of USA troops in 2011, Iraq became engulfed by Sunni-Shia military conflict, which spilled into the already brutal civil war of neighboring Syria. This past autumn, Obama began coordinating a 3-year military campaign against ISIS with allied nations, and he's now asking lawmakers in Congress to formally grant him war powers. No, not powers like that. See, the 3 branches of the U.S. government are led by the lawmaking Congress, the law-enforcing president, and the law-judging Supreme Court. And while the president can direct war efforts in the short term, only Congress can declare a long-term war. The last time Congress gave a president permission to use force was 2002, when former President George W. Bush invaded Iraq. Obama promises to avoid a large-scale invasion and instead focus on airstrikes and limited ground combat with special forces. I wonder if ISIS could be defeated with Cupid's arrows.
Romance was alive and well last week as Valentine's Day was celebrated on February 14th. This lovey-dovey holiday traces its origins to Saint Valentine, a Christian who was jailed by the anti-Christian Roman Empire in 496 AD for performing forbidden Christian services, like weddings for soldiers. According to legend, he healed the daughter of his jailer, Asterius, and wrote a farewell letter signed Your Valentine. Centuries later, the Roman Catholic Church made Valentine a saint, an honor it gives only to a select few who have shown high degrees of holiness. St. Valentine's Day, also known as the Feast of St. Valentine, probably because of how much chocolate I eat, is now observed worldwide on February 14th. Valentine's Day became associated with romance in the 18th century thanks to poetry from the father of English literature, Geoffrey Chaucer, and the increasing popularity of paper valentines in the 19th century. Now, everything from red roses to winged cupids make V-Day a happy one.
You know what can't be fixed with a Valentine's Day card? telling a big lie. Just ask the 2014 Little League Baseball champions and longtime NBC journalist Brian Williams. Little League Baseball has taken away the USA Championship and Great Lakes regional wins from the Chicago-based Jackie Robinson West because they used players who live outside the area their team represents. This wasn't just an accident either, since an investigation found that Jackie Robinson West used a fake boundary map and team officials met with neighboring Little League groups in Illinois to pick kids for a mega team. The team's manager has been suspended from Little League activity, and the USA Championship will go instead to Mountain Ridge Little League from Las Vegas. Jackie Robinson, the first African American to play in Major League Baseball in 1947, would be ashamed of the team named after him. See, lies can make all your success evaporate in an instant, not to mention people's trust, which is a lesson that Brian Williams from NBC is learning. He exaggerated his experience on board a USA helicopter during the invasion of Iraq in 2003, claiming that it was hit by a rocket-propelled grenade. His story kept changing, with the helicopter in front of him being hit instead of his own, and the crew that was actually on the damaged chopper even said they were a half an hour ahead of Williams' craft. After rising through the ranks of NBC News since 1993 to become one of the most trusted names in news, Williams has been suspended without pay for 6 months, and his trustworthy reputation is forever ruined. NBC, see you later, Brian.
Winter just isn't giving up its frosty grip on the Northeast, as the USA endured a third straight week of record-breaking cold. More than 77 inches of snow has fallen this season for Boston, 3 feet more than usual, which makes it the snowiest season to date. The National Weather Service continued forecasting more piles of snowflakes throughout the rest of the week, burying states like Massachusetts, New York, Vermont, Maine, New Hampshire, and Connecticut. Schools and roads were closed, flights were canceled, and government officials warned citizens to stay indoors until the worst had passed. Scientists think man-made pollution may be to blame, since it's trapped the sun's heat like a blanket, melting Arctic barriers that hold the frost.